the content comp. That's usually my strategy, is like, this is my opinion, take it or leave it. Really, I want to move on, live my life. With having the Scorched Legume on,
what we do here is go back.
Psych, you thought I was gonna do that. Haha, sorry. I want to let it be known that I recorded an entirely different Idubbbz apology cop. And this is tricky for me because I was saying that, so here's what happened. Okay, let's get into it. This is my dog, by the way. So I had it all scripted out here. I'll show you. And this is a total God thing. Please stick around. This is not how I normally start my apology cop videos. For those of you who've been watching for a long time, you'll know that I've actually already done an apology cop on Idubbbz, but it got deleted because it was Idubbbz, Colleen Ballinger, and Dr. Disrespect. And the Dr. Disrespect sitch got really messy after that, and I had to, like, you know, I try to take things seriously, and so I had to delete the whole video because he, like, retracted it and it was a whole thing. So long of the short is I made a different Idubbbz apology cop. You can see it here. This was the script I had, and what had happened is I went to record it, and I had to record it 3 different times, and on the last time, one of my kitties unplugged my computer. And because if you know OBS, you know that if you record in one format, if your computer crashes or something corrupts, the whole file is gone, versus if you record in the other format, you're generally good. Well, I was recording in that first format I was telling you about, and so I was very heated. I was wearing a really cool shirt too, not as cool as this one. I was very heated, and I left my office here, and I told my fiance, God doesn't want me to finish this video, so that's it. It was like my 3rd time. I was done. Come to today, present day, Idubbbz has a different apology. So let me sum up the first apology cop. So okay, hold on. You're gonna see how messy my desk is. There's a cat bed attached to my desk. One of my cats just decided to jump up. I'll try to keep this quick. So all of this revolves around, back in February, Ian Idubbbz, the puppet master, Ian Joma, he for 40 minutes put this overlay on his screen, and it's a message from Destiny that says, daily reminder, Ethan Klein is a PDF file who has likely touched his kids. And so for 40 minutes, Idubbbz had that on his screen, signal boosting that comment. And so like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I was way late to it. It was old news by the time I got to it, and stuff got in the way, you know? But in that, so he had like made an apology on one stream, and it was like a half-hearted, like, you know, that doesn't really, I'll just play it. It's a very condensed version. I'm gonna play right now, but no context is lost.
I think one of the things that sort of like woke me up a little bit is like, okay, wait a minute, I need to take a step back. It's the Destiny thing about Ethan and his kids. That was one of those where I was like, oh man, like I think I stepped too far out with this, where it's like we know the reason that I, showed you guys the comment about Ethan and his kids. It's because it's like Destiny's he's a piece of shit, and he has bad intentions. You know, after reflecting a little bit more, I'm like, ugh, like I do not want to roll around this pig shit, and I also don't want to, it's not within my principles to put that online, you know? Like, I don't want to spread that because it's just negative and it's not true. I don't believe it. It didn't feel right. So that's why I'm like, trying to take a step back from the Scorched Legume stuff and not roll around in the pig shit. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Ethan and Ethan's family for putting that nasty Destiny comment out there. I felt like it was an okay thing to do based on the point I was making, but gross shouldn't be spread like that.
Okay, so he says that, and then literally the next day, Ethan Klein goes on his podcast to say, I know why he did that, and it's because I sent him a cease and desist for that comment. And so this, of course, put Idubbbz kind of on the spot where he had to like address it and retract it as per the cease and desist. And so Ian goes on his stream the next day to say, yes, he did send me a cease and desist. I apologized. The apology was genuine, but it's gonna be, some people are gonna think that's impossible to think now because that's been outed that I got a cease and desist. And basically that's what the entire apology cop was. Okay, me saying that because you waited 3 months to do the apology on your stream, you waited till after you got a cease and desist. How is anyone supposed to take this apology seriously, even if you're being genuine? Because what I had gotten at was all the goodwill is gone because any normal viewer who's outside of Ian's viewer base is going to see this and be like, oh, well, of course he apologized because he got sent a cease and desist. So all that goes down. And then within the last couple days, I think Ethan had sent out saying, hey, we're actually full on suing Idubbbz. Ethan basically says all he wants is a genuine apology. And that leads us to today. About 9 hours ago, Idubbbz uploaded his apology. And I'm going to be honest, normally I would script this out and try to pick it apart, but I'm stuck here because in my first apology cop, I had said I don't talk about Idubbbz very much because it makes me really sad not to see that he's become who he is, but to know that he was the guy he was this guy the entire time, and he just fooled us all into thinking he wasn't this guy. He fooled us all into thinking he wasn't the guy who is capable of, for 40 minutes, posting an accusation that Ethan Klein touches his kids. And so he posts this apology, which we're going to get into, but he posts it, and now I'm torn again because at face value, I believe him, right? Like, I think this is genuine, like for what it is, and I'm trying to be cautious, right? Because like, it's no secret, for a lot of people back in the day, Idubbbz was a lot of people's, YouTube heroes, their favorite YouTuber. And now, for me at least, that's very much not the case. And so I'm torn because I really, really want to believe this is genuine, but all of my criticisms from the first apology cop that I recorded that's no longer available to view, all of that still stands, right? Like, you got a cease and desist, and Ethan did officially file a lawsuit against him, and now Ian's apologizing, right? So like, the order of operations is like, of course he would do this. What I'm struggling with is that the Ian I just watched in this apology cop has been the most level-headed, like accurate to, he retold the whole situation accurately. He gave what I believe are his genuine feelings, and he presented them in an accurate way, and then in a very, dare I say, empathetic manner, issued the apology that he should have done in the first place, unprompted by a cease and desist. And so I'm struggling with the fact that, like, I know that he's fully capable of lying and fooling everyone into thinking that he is the good, genuine guy we all think he can be. So we'll just watch it, and we'll go from there.
Hello, everyone. I am going to be talking about a very important and heavy topic for me. If you're unfamiliar with the context of any of this, I'll give you a brief rundown. But that is not the main purpose of this video. I do think it's important to share a little bit of my side of the story, but I don't want to take away from the purpose of this video, and that is to apologize to Ethan Klein and his family, especially his kids. Basically, Ethan is suing me for having rebroadcasted a statement made by Destiny on my stream. I did display the very disgusting comment for 40 minutes, and it was wrong. It was a comment from Destiny, and I even said that I don't agree with it, but it sort of highlights how I knew that it was a wrong thing to put out there into the universe and show people. Regardless of the point I was making, it was wrong.
And that's the thing, right? So a lot of people are in the comments saying, oh, why didn't Ethan just sue Destiny, right? And this is why. The reason I think Ethan didn't just sue Destiny is because, like Idubbbz says, it was a message from Destiny. This wasn't like a tweet or like a full 40-minute long video of Destiny claiming that Ethan is, you know, doing the kid diddling. You know, it was a one-off message from Destiny, who's a scumbag. Who, by the way, I think Ethan should sue Destiny, if he could find it, because I can't stand that guy. And if Ethan is going on this let's silence all the creators campaign, let's silence that guy. I don't think he'll win, but you know, he's got my vote, you know, for who he should go after. But the reason Ethan went after Idubbbz is exactly what Idubbbz said, is for 40 minutes, even though in his little VTuber voice he said he didn't agree with it, but for 40 minutes, he broadcasted to his audience in real time that Ethan, or he claimed through that image, that Ethan is a PDF file and has likely touched his own children. And so that's why. And, you know, you can argue about what Ethan is doing as far as like silencing people, this, that, or the other. It looks like the court has decided in Ethan's favor 2 out of the 3 times, and we'll see about Noah Samson. But you know, the law is going to do what the law is going to do. So you can debate about that, but that's why he went after Ian, because Destiny may have said it in a one-off in a message, but Ian actually signal boosted it.
I was angry, and I was like, how do I get this guy to, one, not clip me, not mock me and harass me on his live stream, and 2, this guy's a fucking bully. I'm angry. I'm angry that this multimillionaire is silencing people and suing people who have a much smaller audience than he does, and you know, can barely defend themselves. And so I'm angry. I don't like bullies. So I wanted to do something that would have an impact, and, you know, without checking in with myself of whether or not that was a right or wrong thing to do. I justified it in my head at the time. I was like, okay, well, it's not my words, and it's actually said by a really bad guy, Destiny. Not a fan of that guy. It's very clear that it was never the right thing to do. It was a comment about Ethan and his children, and it was disgusting. I said at the time in the stream that I don't agree with it, but still sharing it and broadcasting it to people for 40 minutes, that was an irresponsible and reckless thing to do.
Right. It's like when Hassan Piker says that we should kill those motherfuckers and let the streets run, let the streaks, what is it? What does he say? Kill those mother effers and let the streets run with their red capitalist blood in a video game, in Minecraft, right? Like, Idubbbz he figured it out, you know? In this respect, he figured it out that you can't just say or do whatever and then say, oh, I don't agree with it. Or in Minecraft, you can't in Minecraft your way out of it, because some things you say, even if they're in a video game or even if they're in Minecraft, have very real world consequences. And so up to this point, I will say, at no point ever have I ever thought that Ian has discovered empathy. I think that whole narrative that he tried to spin, where he was like, oh, it took me until I was 32 years old to gain the ability empathy. I think that's retarded. I think that's not true. I think he's had it the whole time, and I think he's knowingly, I think he knowingly sequestered it. Not when he was doing the content cops. Well, when he was doing one content cop. I think Ian has knowingly ignored his empathy and common sense when it comes to certain topics that he's handled vis-a-vis Ethan Klein, because where was this during the apology cop? Or not the apology cop. Where was this during Content Cop H3? Where was this attitude when Ethan had CPS called to his house in an effort to get his kids taken away? Where was this empathy that you have suddenly gained? Where was this when Ethan had human skulls sent to his house? I know they were from like a skull website where they just sell skulls, but still pretty shocking to open your mail and find 2 human skulls in there. Where was this then when the rumor was going around that Ethan's kids are playing with dog shit and eating it, and that's why and this turned out not to even be true, but that's why his kids had giardia. You know, where was this empathy and energy then, right? And then when Ian made the content cop, he doubled down on, yeah, you know, maybe Ethan's own audience was the ones who called CPS, you know, because Ethan's talking about how the dog poops everywhere. You know, it's concerning. Where of course it could have been Ethan's audience. It's for me, this seems a little too late. I mean, glad that he's realizing it now, but like, where was this energy then when you were making 2 40-minute long videos on why Ethan is a jerk and ignoring the CPS thing altogether? If you were to focus on Ethan's a bully, yeah, you've got something there. But the entire time made 2 40-minute long videos about Ethan being a jerk and neglected to mention what had sparked this whole, you know, warpath that he was on. So I'm thankful to see it now, and I believe he's had it the whole time, but this is a case of he sequestered and subdued his own empathy for his own gain. And now that we're in a spot where what Ian did is now kind of hurt Ian at his core, that's why we're getting, you know, the empathy fully on display. So I think that's what's going on here. And I'm happy to see it, but, you know, just keep that in mind. You know, where was this energy when other completely unjust rumors and allegations were being thrown around? Where was this then? You know? Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. We're about halfway through.
Especially for parents. Like, there are many parents with kids out there who do not want to see that shit, and it's painful. And I'm sure it was extremely painful for Ethan and Hila to read that shit and have it pop up again and again and again. And just because it's coming from a piece of shit guy, and I'm showing it to people, like, look what this piece of shit said. It's wrong. It's wrong to do. And I didn't come to this overnight, right? Like, to be frank, I'm angry. I do not like Ethan. I think he's doing a lot of damage to people online. And it changed the way that I was thinking about it. I didn't think about it. I didn't ground myself. I didn't think about, oh, like, who is actually being affected in this instance. And Ethan's family and his kids are being affected. You know, I just because I don't like Ethan, I think it's wrong to find an attack vector that is his kids.
All of this fits for the CPS drama. Everything, I want to treat this like an isolated incident, but like, this is such the perfect response. Instead of a 45-minute long content cop, I don't know why I'm like hyped on, or not hyped, but I don't know why I'm stuck on this. I think I'm stuck on it because the attitude was so opposite then, and then now it's, you know, put back into a more, this is a normal way to feel. What Ian is describing here, this is the normal way to feel. But everything Ian just said could have and should have been said during the CPS drama. So what I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna be like, this apology is dumb and stupid because too little too late, buddy. I'm not gonna do that because I don't think that's right. What I am gonna say is I'm still on the fence about this being genuine or not. It fits. It's like too perfect, right? Like this what Ian's doing right now actually fits all the things that Ian's said he was doing. Going to therapy, fixing himself, taking accountability, showing empathy. He's been saying that for the last like 2-3 years, but he hasn't been doing that. And so now in this video, what's confusing to me is that it appears on the surface that he's doing it. So it's congruent for the things that he's said, but it's not congruent with his actions over the last 2 years. And so it's tricky for me because, like, you know, if I were Ian or if I were Ethan, it's so confusing having their names be so similar. But if I were Ethan, I'd look at this and be like, finally, dude, finally, you get it, right? But I don't know. Like, it's tricky because we all know that Ian is the puppet master. So I'm not trying to pick it apart too hard, but it's like, we've all been burned by this guy, I want to say. You know what I mean? It's like when your ex says, I've changed. Things will be different. I've changed. Things will be different, babe. Come on. babe, I'm a changed guy. I'm not the guy you hooked up with 3 weeks ago. Okay, I'm a changed guy. Yeah. So to sum up that whole bit of commentary, I hope Ian takes this energy and now applies it to every tricky situation going forward, whether it involves him or not, because that'll be the true test to whether this was genuine or not. If he continues to be this level-headed, common sense guy that he's being right now, great. You know, that's how we knew it was genuine. If not, you know, we'll know that he truly is the puppet master.
It's foul. It's not okay. And I think it was wrong for me to use the Destiny screenshot as a cudgel to make my point. I didn't need to use the Destiny screenshot to make my point. There's a million other ways I could have done it, but I didn't. And I regret that I didn't, and I regret that I ever put that screenshot on my live stream. You know, that's the main reason why I feel like I do need, for myself, for my soul, to own up to this and acknowledge that I went too far. It wasn't okay. Ethan and Hila and their family do not deserve that. At the end of the day, whatever happens with the lawsuit is what it is. For myself, I needed to make it known on the internet that what I did was wrong, and I don't want to be that person. I don't want to behave that way. I want to make content that I'm proud of. I don't want to give in to a harassment back and forth online. I want to put my energy into making content that I can be proud of and that I'm not going to be ashamed of because I lost the plot. I want to stay focused. I want to check in with myself and know what it is I want to be and what I want to do and what message I want to spread. And this isn't a message I want to spread. So I'm sorry to Ethan and Hila and your family. You guys didn't deserve that. I'm going to think about all of this a lot more, I'm sure. But for now, I really do want to just get back to making the content that I want to make. Having said all that, I wish everyone the best. I genuinely want to see a better world, and I do not want to be a contributor to what makes it terrible. So long.
For anyone wondering, the content that maybe this is I'm making a joke. I'm about to make a joke, okay? Just so it's clear. But the content that Ian is proud of is watching 90 Day Fiancé on stream. So take that what you will. I'm just joking. Come on. I'd be proud of that too. Listen, man, if I could get paid to watch 90 Day Fiancé on stream, I would do it too. Sly Boy's getting paid millions of dollars to watch freaking body cam footage. Like, I could do that. Why don't I? You know, it's because I chose a job in the real world. But to sum this all up, Ethan did see the apology video. He says here, "Hey Ian, I appreciate the thoughtful apology. It means a lot. I've instructed my attorneys to drop the lawsuit entirely." So it looks like Ethan is holding up his end of the deal, and the lawsuit will be dropped. Okay, so normally this is where I do like a scoring, right? And I have several categories. Listen, man, that's pretty involved, and I don't want to do all that. So at least I'm being honest about it. What I'll say is this. At the end there, Ian says that he doesn't want to be a contributor to the problems of this world, and he wants to be part of a better world. How do I phrase this? I guess for him to live up to that, all of his future content needs to be more in line with the apology video we just watched. And I'm not saying like he needs to go and like apologize for all these things, but like he had his hindsight in 2020, and he had all of his thoughts seemed to have come from a very common sense like situation, and he was able to analyze the situation, at least in retrospect, for what it was, and kind of communicate to everyone why he doesn't want to do that anymore. And so what I'll say is this: if Ian continues to be whatever version of Ian Idubbbz that this was, This is a perfectly scoring apology because somehow he managed. It was a 5-minute apology. I didn't get annoyed one time. One time did I get annoyed. I always get annoyed versus in the apologies. Not one time did I get annoyed here. And that's great, you know, because on paper, it's a perfect apology. He recapped, he took accountability, he made a sincere, you know, apology. And so that's great. So if this is what continues, it's perfect. But if he just goes right back to doing the crappy content cops he did on Ethan, or doing heinous accusations on stream, or really just not thinking of things before he says them, then we'll know it was fake. So that's it. Normally I do an unscripted part, but this entire video is unscripted. So thanks everyone for sticking around. Hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry I didn't do a bigger recap, but I figured if you're watching this video, you're terminally online enough to know exactly what is going on. And I love you guys very much. So, and I've been Only Jax. Until next time, start a garden because mine is flourishing and I want yours to flourish. All right, bye-bye. You made it to the end of the video. You should subscribe or maybe just leave a like. Leave a comment if you please, but I'd rather you subscribe. I check that shit like every day, and when that subscriber number goes up, well, my heart goes up to the sky. When you do